they can be so wild. I loved horses when I was a girl, like so many other teenage girls. History, we don't know exactly, but they have been here for a very, very long time, maybe 1,500 years. When people in Faroe Islands were visiting each other, they were sailing or rowing from one village to the other. And the horses were just living wild up in the mountains. But they were used for work. They were carrying peat and manure and stones. When the farmer, the owner, need them, they just go up in the mountain, grab them, take them down, force them to do some work. And when they were finished, they said, "Thank you." Off you go. And they were just taking care of themselves. Nobody was feeding them, no breeding program except what the nature put on them.
I'm a breeder together with Anna Luisa. We bought a horse trailer, and it was 20 years back, 25 years back, and the breed had come to a point where the number was decreasing again after having been quite very, very low. And then we thought something has to be done, so we bought this trailer, and then we phoned people, you know, please let your mare or let our stallion come to your mare, and so on. And people, they said, I can't have more foals. So we said, okay, we'll take care of the foal. So we ended up having too many horses. Now we are at a level where we can't breed more horses here in the Faroes because there's simply not interest enough within the islands. So we are struggling now to find partners in other countries who will join us and try to help this breed survive. This breed is probably the only, or at least one of very few breeds that have never been bred to any specific purpose. And it makes them perfect for rewilding, because in many parts of the world now there is interest in trying to rewild areas that have previously been cultivated. You need a horse breed that can survive under wild conditions without being supervised all the time. And our horses are perfect for that.
I'm a sheep farmer, and I also have these horses now, but I'm also a biologist. My family has been here. They have been farmers here at the same place for about 500 years. It's some years ago, maybe 8 years ago, that I was talking to Roar, which is working together with Anna Luisa, and they asked me if I could provide some place for the horses. Huh? You see this land, it's very wet, and it's easy for a large animal to sink in the soil. Huh? But these horses, they have broad hooves compared to their size, their weight. Huh? They're very well fit for this place, this country.
Roar, my good friend, he was just starting to keep some of the stallions, and I was helping him. First take stallions up in the mountain to put them in fences, and then we saw that was not a good idea because we have to use the stallions to put them together with mares so we could have some foals. And so we did. A few years later, when the male foals grew up, they get more and more hard to keep. So I got them all back. So that's why I ended up with most of the stallions. So here we have 7 stallions in this group. And we found a very good way to keep them. A little bit semi-wild, but in the winter we have them in in groups, and they have like a shipping container to seek shelter. And then we are feeding them, and they're in a small fence.
Being a wild breed, maybe these horses have retained some of the original traits that make them really, really strong and able to persist in a very harsh environment.
We definitely want them to be like they are. Maybe later, if we ever reach a number of 200 breeding animals, we could choose a special stallion to have more foals from that one and less from another one. But now we have to give every single stallion a chance.
They are as nature have shaped them here on the Faroe Islands. They have been living wild or semi-wild on the Faroe Islands. The problem now is that now we have roads and cars and everything. That it's not so easy to let them go wild. No? I want to export them because I can't see that it's possible here on the Faroe Islands with so smaller community to save them. We have to get the population, horse population, bigger as soon as possible to avoid the inbreeding problem. No?
I got my first Faroese horse for my 10th year birthday. I was a crazy horse girl and just wanted to have a horse and was begging for a horse all the time. And my dad said, if she's getting a horse, it's going to be a Faroese horse. And then it just snowballed from there. That first mare that I got for my 10th year birthday, she is the grandmother of this one. And this one, yeah, she is the mother of one of the mares here. So yeah, we have the fourth generation here. The passion for the Faroese horses just followed me actually in everything that I do. I took a bachelor in molecular biology, where my bachelor thesis was of Faroese horses. And I also did my master's in molecular biology and genetics. In the 1800s, we had around 800 Faroese individuals. During the years after that, agricultural equipment got bigger, so they needed a bigger horse, and they started importing mostly Norwegian fjord horses to mix breed with the Faroese horses and also Icelandic horses. So the purebred Faroese horse population started declining, and at the same time, many Faroese horses were exported to the British coal mines. But that led to severe decline in the purebred Faroese horse, and yeah, in the 1960s there were only 5 breeding individuals left. The Faroese Horse Association was founded in 1978. They found 13 Faroese horses, which they thought were purebred Faroese horses. They took blood samples of them and sent them to the Swedish Agricultural University to do a genetic test where they could say that it was a purebred Faroese horse. So that's when the work of preserving the Faroese horse started, and now in 2024 we have 84 Faroese horses alive. Genetic tests have shown that they are very closely related to the Icelandic horse and the Shetland pony. We want to breed as much as possible, but because we don't have room for more Faroese horses on the Faroe Islands, we want to breed outside of the Faroe Islands too. But because of missing regulations, we can't issue a passport for the horses, so we can't export living horses. So we came up with this project where we import Icelandic mares from Denmark. So they have a horse passport, so they can travel back and forth as they want, and breed Faroese mares with Faroese stallions and flush the embryo from the Faroese mares and put it in the Icelandic mares. So when the Icelandic mares are pregnant, they can travel back to Denmark and give birth to a Faroese foal. So the Icelandic mares are surrogate mares for the Faroese mares. We've been working on this for this summer. So this is the first attempt. So we still don't have any foals born in that way, but we have a few mares that are pregnant. So yeah, it will be exciting to see how many mares we will have next year that will give birth to Faroese ponies in Denmark. We have also been this summer collecting semen from Faroese stallions to do cryoconservation. So we collect the semen and freeze it in liquid nitrogen so it can be conserved for infinity. If we lose stallions, then we have collected from them, then we can go back and get the semen so that we can still breed the stallion. The founding population of these horses are only 4 individuals. So their inbreeding coefficient is between 25 and 30%, which is, it's really high. When you do sibling mating, you get an inbreeding coefficient of 25%. Yeah, and even though these aren't siblings, they still have that inbreeding. Some suspicions that we have is that it affects the fertility. We know that in other breeds that it does. This one, the grey one, is an Icelandic horse, and this one is a Faroese horse, both mares, and both have been involved in the embryo transfer project. And we will be scanning this one soon to see if she is pregnant or not. You can see the difference in these two. The Icelandic one is taller and slimmer, and has longer and slimmer legs, and maybe a bit slimmer chest also, while the Faroese horse is shorter and like stronger, has a bit heavier legs and chest, and yeah, so more like a working horse. And this one is more like a riding horse. And the Iceland has big areas and long distances between the farms, so they would need a horse that's good for transport. While we didn't really need that on the Faroe Islands, we mostly needed horses to help us work. So that's why they have evolved into different horse breeds. One thing that we also see from the loss of genetic diversity due to the bottleneck that the Faroese horses went through is that we only have 3 colors in the Faroese horse. We know from pictures that we had the gray color also, and then the dun color that the Norwegian horse has, and white. But those are colors that we lost. One thing that the Icelandic horse is famous for is their gaits, so the tuft and the pace. And that's something that we nearly lost in the Faroese horse. But the gene for tuft has been identified, and we have done genetic tests on the Faroese horses to see if we still have it. And we have a few that have carry the tuft gene. And we know that, for example, this one, she's homozygous for the tuft gene, and we can see that she has the tuft, the gait. So this one will be a tufting Faroese horse. But she's very small, so it will be for the children to tuft on. This one has also donated an embryo, and we know that the mare that received her embryo is pregnant, so she will have a foal in Denmark next year, hopefully. This is one of our stallions. We have 2 stallions on our farm. This one is Meldur. He has 2 mares that he's covering this summer. And he has also been used for the embryo transfer project. And he's one of the big Faroese horses. And you can see that he's a really strong horse and a strong chest. Yeah, he's a very good boy. Most stallions don't like when you touch their head like this. So we get an annual funding every year from the government. And then for the embryo transfer project, we got a private fund from the Faroe Islands. They are still critically endangered, but if we can keep on breeding the horses, then we believe they will survive.
Jakob and we cannot take more and more horses because they eat a lot and they are very expensive for us in the winter time, especially because we have to buy all the hay, and we just have a little bit of support from the government. Not even, maybe half of the stallions have some money. Normally, I take people out riding, tourists, and make quite good money, but I had an accident. So I've been disabled. All people who are horses know how expensive they are. We really, really want to save these very, very good, strong horses.